Hey, it's David. Welcome to Social Saturday. This week, I have a very special guest and friend, Wendy Johnson. Wendy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, David.
I know, Wendy, you were hired in San Francisco in 1970 and
Right.
then were based in New York.
Right.
And then you moved back to San Francisco and was based in San Francisco,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay.
That's right.
I know that you had two extraordinary experiences, both out of New York and out of San Francisco.
That's right.
Tell us about your experience when you were based in San Francisco.
Well, I would love to. When I was based in San Francisco, I traveled all over the Pacific, including Saigon was one of my routes. And one night when I was in Singapore on a layover, I got a call by Pan Am asking me to come out to the airport. And it was completely off our line. It was not something we were scheduled to do. And it was 2 a.m. We got out there. There was a 707 plane in the distance, and surrounding it was military men from Singapore with machine guns. And it was kind of scary, actually. When we got on the plane, we discovered that there had been 2 Vietnamese pilots that had defected, and they were escaping Vietnam to save their lives. And they had flown their plane, their fighter jets, to fields outside of where they lived. And they had all their family members join them on their fighter jets. And they flew under the radar to Singapore. When they got there, they asked for asylum, and Singapore said no, but they asked the United States if we would take them, and we agreed to take them. And each of them had families, aunts and uncles and kids, and it was amazing. And it was very interesting talking to the pilots. They spoke English, and they were so grateful. And we took them to Saipan, where they were going to be processed to go to the United States or some other country.
So Pan Am actually just took this plane by itself just to get those 2
That's
pilots
right.
and their families to Saipan.
That's right.
Wow.
I know. It was amazing.
A lot of experiences flying Vietnam, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were.
Okay, then you were in New York in 1970, and you had been doing a charter for about 2 weeks. Tell us about that experience.
Yes, this was really, really amazing experience. I was on a charter from Brussels to Kinshasa, Zaire for 2 weeks, bringing missionaries there. And when we finished up our 2 weeks, we were in Brussels, and they had to fly us deadhead home, which means you get to fly as a passenger and have wine and everything. It was so great. And we were sitting on the plane waiting to go from Brussels to Amsterdam and then to New York was the route. And just before the doors shut, a gate agent came on board and said, "Wendy Strom," that was my name then, "Wendy Strom, we have to take you off the plane." And I just said, "Oh, drat, I really wanted to drink wine in first class." I was 21, and this was really disappointing. And I went to the hotel, and shortly after that, the captain on my next plane, my flight to Rome, called, asked me to come to his room, and he shared the information that the plane that I had been on had been hijacked, and it was commandeered by terrorists and taken to Beirut. And when it got to Beirut, terrorists came on, more terrorists, and slit the rugs on the 747 and piled dynamite in all the bathrooms, okay? And it was filled with passengers, and they were terrified. And then what happened was they flew the plane to Cairo. I'm sure you all remember the plane. And on landing, they lit the fuses. And the fuses of these dynamite packages were lit. And they landed the plane, and before it even stopped, passengers were jumping out of their seats and leaving the plane through the slides. And the airport sent those little trains out from the airport to pick up the passengers, if you can even imagine. And the hijackers got on these little trains too and disappeared in the airport. And then the plane blew up.
I know the plane was destroyed,
Yeah.
and no passengers
No.
lost their lives, and the 17 crew members survived as well.
That's true. That was before terrorists really wanted to blow themselves up too.
Right.
Yeah.
So after Pan Am, I know you did some recruiting for Pan Am, and
Right.
what areas were you responsible for recruiting?
We were recruiting for stewards and stewards. They put us through wonderful psychological training. I had an interview. It was fabulous. And I had a territory of Utah, Alaska, and part of San Francisco.
Great.
Yeah.
And I know you enjoyed doing recruiting, didn't
Oh,
you?
I loved it. I have to.
So after your career with Pan Am, I know you left eventually, and Tell us briefly what you did and what you did until you retired.
Okay. Well, I decided to leave to have further my journey. I had been a flight attendant for 6 years, and I decided to kind of expand my journey. And Pan Am really prepared me to go into the business world because you build self-confidence, you build ability to communicate with people, you build trust with people, and you show leadership skills, and that's what the business world needs. And so I started out in sales, moved into sales leadership management, in 4 different industries. I did it was the aluminum industry, the financial industry, the software industry, and also medical. So I did go into different industries with that. In the last 20 years of my career, I owned a Dale Carnegie franchise, and it was my own business, and I helped companies develop leadership in their companies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this right now, Wendy. You still like you could be a stewardess today. You are still as pretty as you have always been. You're a beautiful lady inside and out. And I want to thank you so much for coming and
thank you.
sharing my Social Saturday with me.
Oh, well, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Until next time on Social Saturday, have a great day and we'll see you soon. Bye.